Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and today we're going to be checking out the Masters of the Universe Origins Clawful Warrior with the Grip of Evil. It's another classic villain from the vintage line, brought back for Origins here, and as you can see, he comes on that same styled blister card packaging, the absolutely beautiful vintage-inspired packaging. I love how we even got this call out right here that says, "Make his dreadful claw grab and hold." Really fun stuff. New mini comic for the wave behind the figure as well, and as we rotate this around to the back side, we've got some absolutely gorgeous artwork at the top that looks like it came straight off the vintage toy line there, with Clawful and Whiplash back there doing battle with Tila. Beautiful colors, absolutely gorgeous artwork. I love seeing this on all of the packaging in this line. And then down below that, we've got our cross-sell for all the other figures in this wave, and we've got our action feature call-outs that shows how his lever claw works there. Pretty cool stuff. So let's go ahead and get Clawful pulled out of the packaging, and we will get a closer look at him. Alright, so we got our Clawful outside of the packaging. It's worth noting that this wave does come with the brand new mini comic featuring all of the characters in this wave, which has been common. So Sunman is actually the starring character in this particular comic, but we also get Clawful in here and Anti-Eternia He-Man. I mean, it's kind of crazy seeing Anti-Eternia He-Man and Sunman doing battle on Eternia. That's some serious world collision going on right there. I love it. So, let's bring in the tape measure just to show you guys. Per usual, the figures in this line do stand at the 5.5 inch mark. Actually, just a tad over 5.5 inches. But essentially, they are the same scale as the vintage action figures from the 80s that these figures are based upon. Clawful here was a no-brainer for a character to come out. Not only is he a classic villain that comes straight out of the original line, but he's also a great reuse of parts from that Buzz-Off that we just recently got. You know, the clawed hand, you got these big old feet and the bumpy legs. So, you know, it was real easy to assume that this guy was coming since we got Buzz-Off. Now, he does feature some new stuff. Of course, he does have the extra large forearm for his claw, the larger claw piece. This is unique to Clawful here. And this actually works exactly like the vintage one. You can see there's a lever on the underside, and when you pull the lever back, it makes the claw open up and it springs back closed. Now, the claw it's a hard plastic, but I will say it doesn't have that same snap sound that the vintage one had that was always so satisfying. Like, this kind of snaps, but I don't know. It doesn't really have that, like, really hard snap that the vintage one had. Otherwise, that's a silly little complaint, or just not even a complaint, just something I noticed. This works just fine, and it gets a good grip. I mean, you can see his accessory there. You can grip that in his hand if you want to, or of course while he's doing battle. So it's pretty nice. Of course, he's got a brand new head as well. Got that nice Muppet head there with the giant black eyebrows. Looks just like that of the vintage one. I will say I've got a little bit of sloppy paint on mine, which is unfortunate. There's a black glob on the tip of his nose. I ordered mine through Target. Obviously, when you order things online, it's blind. So if you're lucky enough to find the wave in stores, make sure you keep an eye out for the clean paint there. Because aside from that, he looks pretty nice. He's a very bright red. One of the things Origins has really done is a lot of their colors are a lot brighter than that of the vintage, and I can definitely say the same thing for Clawful, because the reds and the blue that's used on his belt and his feet are much brighter in color when compared to the vintage action figure, but otherwise, he is pretty much exactly what you would expect to see for Clawful in this line. I think he looks really nice. The armor is removable, just like we've seen for all the figures before, so you can just kind of pop those off of the side. That's another thing that makes this one different from the vintage. Instead of the hard shell armor, he does have that softer, pliable armor. It does make it look a little different because he always had that hard shell, which had a bit of a gloss to it, and that worked for a crab character, but this looks soft, so I guess he's a soft shell crab. Articulation is just like you'd expect for any of the basic figures in this line. That head is on a ball joint, which of course is removable for your part swapping action if that's something that you want to do. The arms can go out at the shoulders, move forwards, backwards, swivel at the elbow, bend at the elbow, swivel at the wrist. You even have the hinge joint over here on this clawed hand. And it is worth noting, you can still, of course, pop the arms out at the shoulders. You can remove the clawed hand on the small claw. You can pop the arm out with the giant claw. However, the giant claw is not a removable piece. This is permanently attached over here. The waist can swivel back and forth. You can also pop them apart at the waist if you want to. Got a red peg there for the waist. Legs can go outwards, forwards, backwards, swivel at the knee, bend at the knee. You got swivels at the boot cut. Boots are also removable from the figure pretty easily. And then the ankles can go up and down and rock side to side, even though they're these big old honking, goofy looking clawed feet. So really nice articulation. Posability is really good. None of the joints seem overly loose on this guy. It feels really nice and on par for the Origins lineup so far. And as far as accessories, you saw it briefly, but he just comes with that green club, which is the same accessory that the vintage figure came with. That can clip into the hand here, kind of like what we saw with Buzz Off. There's actually a little notch in the claw, which is really nice. So the small claw can hold onto the accessory quite nicely there, so that way you can arm Clawful up with his signature weapon. All right, guys, it's comparison time. Here's a look at the brand new Origins Clawful standing alongside the vintage action figure that he is based upon. You can see he basically looks exactly the same, just with some updates to the colors, and you can kind of see the difference between the hard-shelled armor and the softer one on the new figure. But otherwise, definitely looks like an Origins version of the vintage figure as we've seen in this line so far. We've also got to stand him alongside the Masters of the Universe Classics version of Clawful, which of course is in the 7-inch scale, so he is taller, but that one was also inspired by the vintage toy, so you can see the differences there. And there you go, my friends. That is a look at the Masters of the Universe Origins Clawful. It's a really nice figure all in all. Like I said, it's just exactly what I would expect it to be. So nothing really crazy or standout as far as that goes. It is cool seeing the claw and how the claw feature is retained from the vintage toy. But basically, I mean, if you liked the original Clawful, I think you're gonna like this figure just fine. So he is part of the newest wave that is just now starting to ship. Will probably be showing up on store shelves fairly soon. I was able to grab mine in stock on Target's website, so definitely check there as well. Happy hunting, my friends, and until next time.